This is the first video for the chapter ratio and proportion, and honestly there's nothing very new in this chapter. You've been doing it for a long time now. Just one new concept, and using that you can solve nearly every question in this chapter. So just starting off with a few basics. You have a fraction a by b. This is actually a ratio between a and b. You could write it like this. When you have a ratio between two such ratios, when you compare two such ratios, it's called proportion. Say it's like this. So these are two separate ratios, and say they're equal. That means they're in proportion. Uh, so all this you know, and the first new term that I'm going to introduce is continued proportion. Continued proportion is the same as the normal proportion, except the second and third terms are the same. You have b over here, you have b over here. A small example of this could be, say, 12 by 24 is equal to 24 upon 48. So you can see that 24 here, 24 here, and the value of the two ratios is exactly the same, 1 by 2. Another relation, from here you could see pretty clearly that if you cross multiply, you get AC is equal to B squared. So root of AC is equal to B. I'm going to use this as an example and just confirm this later. Okay, so 24 into 24 is 576, and now we do 12 into 48, 576. So that confirms that that relation is true, and this is called continued proportional. Sorry, continued proportion, not continued proportional. Now in continued proportion, you have a term called mean proportional. The mean proportional is basically this term which is repeated once, the term which is b. So in the example we took, the mean proportional would be 24, and this is the formula to find the mean proportional if you're given only a and c. Same way, c is called the third proportional. If you have a upon b is equal to c by d, then d over here is the fourth proportional. You could go on like that. Now, a few more terms related to ratios. There's one called compounded ratio. So let's take this over here. Compound, you would have done the English meaning of it under compound interest as well. Compound would be to basically gather up stuff, bring it together. So here too, compound ratio would be just bringing the two ratios together. So AC by BD is the compound ratio of this over here. Reciprocal ratio, you know what reciprocal means. You just make the numerator denominator and vice versa. So that's B by A if your ratio is A by B, that is. Now these ones are slightly more important. There's duplicate ratio, triplicate ratio, subduplicate ratio, and subduplicate ratio. So duplicate ratio, say you have A by B again. Duplicate ratio is nothing but the ratio between the squares. So that's A square by B square. Triplicate ratios is A cube upon B cube. Now subduplicate and subtriplicate basically means that in subduplicate you root the whole thing. You could write like this, and subtriplicate you can guess would be like this. You cube root both, and sometimes you do get asked a few questions on this part of the chapter, which is the first part of the chapter. So that's all there is when you talk about formulae regarding ratios. So now I'm going to come to formulae regarding proportion, which is definitely the more important part of this chapter. So none of this you would have done before in any class. So I think you should pay special attention to this part of the chapter. This is where most of the questions come from. Okay, so now we're talking about proportion. Remember that. So proportion is nothing but one ratio is equal to another. So say A upon B is equal to C upon D. This is proportion. Now the first you could call it a property or something, or say a result. I think a result would be a better word. It's called invertendo. Invertendo. It's like you have this whole proportion over here, and you're passing it through a function called invertendo, right? INV. The output that you get will be nothing but B upon A is equal to D upon C. It inverts it, hence name invertendo. Don't ask me why it's invertendo, probably derived from some Latin, Italian, I don't know, some word. Then there's alternando. Alternando is again, you're just switching terms. Alternando, you're alternating the terms. So you just switch the B and the C. So you get A upon C is equal to B upon D. Okay, so that's invertendo and alternando. Now coming to even more important ones, that's componendo. Componendo, I'm gonna write COM. What componendo does is it gives you output like A plus B upon B. So I'm gonna do that again. That's better. A plus B upon B is equal to C plus D upon D. So all you're doing is adding the denominator to the numerator. That's it. Nothing else. Now the other very important property here is dividendo. What dividendo does is similar, except it does A minus B upon B is equal to C minus D upon D. So you're just subtracting the denominator. You could call these sort of functions. So, and you have another one which is convertendo, just to convert. And I don't have space for it, I'll try writing it here. What it does is similar to dividendo, except it does that to the denominator. Is equal to C upon C minus D. Pretty similar to dividendo, except you're doing it to the denominator. Now, the most important part, the most important concept that you need to know in this chapter is called componendo and dividendo. So, combining these two, componendo and dividendo. So, again, it's a function. What it does is A plus B upon A minus B is equal to, you can guess what this part will be, C plus D upon C minus D. This forms the basis of this chapter. Most of your questions are going to be based on this. This is the only new thing as such, new major thing that you need to know. Other than this, these properties and also content, they don't really come in much use right now, but you should still know them. And component or dividend are the main ones. And when you combine these two, this is the result that you get, and we abbreviate this to C and D. So that's all there is in this chapter, and I'm reaching my time limit of 10 minutes. So I'm going to continue this in the next chapter. I'm just going to do a few questions. That's it. The chapter's done. So I'll continue this in part 2.